morning, everyone. On today's show, we got a lot to talk about because, ladies and gentlemen, my coverage of Mario Kart World has concluded. After a month and a half of gameplay, over 20 plus hours, I am here today to give you my final thoughts on the game, and I think you're going to be pretty interested. But because Mario Kart World is now done, we now have to talk about what's going to replace it. So today we will talk about some various options, including Tony Hawk 3 and 4, the new RoboCop expansion, and a horror game that just released called Luto. I really don't know what to play. We'll look at all of them today and maybe try to make a decision. All right? So it's going to be an awesome show. All of this and more on today's episode of the Level 1 Podcast. Alrighty, everyone. Welcome to the show. Welcome back. We didn't have a podcast yesterday, and I'm excited to have one today, which is Wednesday, the 23rd of July, 2025. So today's going to be a good day. All right. Just so you guys know quickly what's on the agenda for today, we're going to be talking about why I've stopped playing Mario Kart World, and I'm going to do kind of a review of it on this show now that I've played around 20 hours of gameplay. Then we're going to do more Death Stranding 2, which has been a great playthrough. In fact, we just finished a pretty difficult mission, so we're going to trade in our cargo and see what our rewards are and see where the game takes us today. And then on the late stream tonight, we actually have a bonus fighting game stream of Capcom versus SNK 2. I'm going to be facing off against a couple of my old friends from the FGC, and then after that, we'll probably take on some randoms online on the PC version of the game. So that's the agenda for today. If you're interested, I hope that you are. Welcome to the show. I hope that you're all in good spirits and ready for some fun. It's always good to come back when you're not doing the podcast for a day and to come back and actually have interesting stuff to talk about. But I honestly think having these weeks here where one day I do the podcast and then I kind of skip it for a day and then I come back, it's been working. I'm not saying it will always be like this, but if you notice, for about a month now, I've kind of been doing that. And I think it's working out well because it's giving more time to make progress in certain games that I play on day streams. But also, I don't always have a big amount of topics to talk about on the show. So to skip it every once in a while, maybe once or twice a week, I actually think works well. So I hope you feel the same way, and I hope that you're ready to chill with me here today now that I actually have some good topics to discuss. And thanks for being here live. If you're here live, if you're not and you're watching on demand after the fact, also, thank you for being here. I appreciate that. What's going on, everyone here in chat? How you all doing? Good morning, good morning. What's up, Hybrid? What's up, Jeff? What's up, Chris? What's up, Dungeon Keeper's Mistress? Agent Coop, how you doing? Perloki, sorry, I misclicked on Perloki by accident in the kick chat, and he got banned for like 10 seconds, and he got furious with me, and I apologize because it was a misclick. It happens. I got those slippery fingers as I get older, right? How's everyone today? King Michael, good morning. How are you? Nick is asking, will we be able to gift you games on Steam? Well, the thing is, I don't want people to just unlimited send me games because sadly that would happen. Like, people just send me a bunch of codes. I don't know what they are. I redeem them as games I'll never play, right? Kind of a waste. But if we talk about it ahead of time, like let's say, for example, today we're talking about games to play and we decide that I want to play a game that's on Steam and someone says, hey, I'd like to donate it to you. Sure. Right? And we could talk about how to do that. All right? But it's just like in real life. I tell people, don't just send me stuff to my house that I'm never going to use. Because this could sit around or I'm going to throw it out, right? Like, what a waste. Instead, check with me. Let's talk about it first, okay? Cool. All right, before we get to today's topics, because we have a few to talk about, including why I quit Mario Kart World, my final review and thoughts of it, and then we have to determine what's the next game in the schedule. Okay? Before we get to that, I just want to say yesterday, we faltered a little bit. We fumbled and stumbled. We didn't hit any support goals yesterday. Now, listen, that's not the end of the world at all. And I want you to understand that with the amount of support that I've been getting recently, those first 2 days of this week were outstanding. We were hitting like double goals multiple times. I'm not upset in any way, okay? But obviously, I want to get back on track today. I think that yesterday it was really the game selection. You had GTA 4, which people are liking, but we've now played about 20 hours of 15. It's between 15 and 20 hours of it. And let's face it, I've played the game twice before for YouTube. So it's not as exciting as the first two playthroughs. There is some nostalgia factor, and the fact that I'm using mods does spruce it up a bit, makes it feel a little bit fresh and new. But I think kind of the gimmick of me playing GTA 4 has already worn out. It is what it is. If you want to know the truth, I think the same thing happened when I played it 6 years ago. Like, I'm starting to remember in my head, and I'm like, I think that's exactly what happened last time. Like, at first, people were hyped and excited, and streams were doing good, and then it kind of, slowed down about halfway through, and that looks like exactly what's happening now. So, because of that, all right, basically what we're going to do is we're going to move GTA 4 from daytime streams to night streams, okay? It's not the end of the world. It's not, oh no, the playthrough now is ending or I'm quitting the game. I really liked the game. To be honest, the amount of effort that was put into getting it to work with mods, if you remember, it wasn't easy. We were having issues getting it to work. I'm not just going to stop playing the game. But I can't have it be the main featured stream of the day if people aren't going to be as interested in it. It's weird because at first they were. Like, we were getting great attendance and support, and now it's kind of faltered. So we're going to turn that into a night stream. And it's absolutely perfect right now because we're not doing Mario Kart on night streams anymore. So we're going to have some free time at night to put a game like that. And probably what I'll do is play it like twice a week on night streams. So we'll get about 2 to 2.5 hours of gameplay in every time we play it. Probably by, maybe mid-August, we'll wrap it up. But just so everyone knows, I made this abundantly clear yesterday, we're not going to do the DLCs. People are like, are you going to play The Lost and Damned? Are you going to play The Ballad of Gay Tony? No. If people were showing up and engaging and supporting with the game, then I would be like, why not? Let's keep that rolling. But already, halfway into the main campaign of the game, people are not showing up anymore. So why am I then going to say, let's also commit to the DLCs? Listen, I know the DLCs are good. I'm 100% aware. I would love to play them. In fact, I've only played them once, I think. When I replayed GTA 6 years ago, GTA 4 years ago, I'm almost positive we did not include the DLCs. Let me take a quick look here. So here it is from 2019. View the full playlist. Yeah, we did not. We only did the base campaign. That was it. And I remember, again, I specifically remember why. It's because when we were in the middle of playing the game, people's interest waned and people stopped caring as much and the views fell off, both on the streams and in the playthrough. And I said, all right, then we're just going to do the main campaign. So, the same thing happened last time too. If I go back all the way to my beginning playthrough of the game, which was from, how old is this? I want to say this is from it says 12 years ago, so 13 years ago. So yeah, this is like 2012, right? That playthrough did exceptionally well. That was the first time I had ever played the game for YouTube. This is also only 10-minute parts, which is ridiculous. And yes, I can tell you right now, that playthrough, we did all of the expansions. I'm looking at it right now. And we did both expansions. So there you go. Yeah. Again, it's all cause and effect. It's direct results. If people had kept showing up and engaging and supporting with GTA 4, I would have done the DLCs. I actually wanted to do them. I have them. I do. I have them in this version of the game that I bought on PC. But what can you do? Now, I will say this as well. All right? I will say this as well. If GTA 4 starts doing well on night streams, if people show up and engage and support with it, and on the night streams, there's a desire where people are like, can you bring this back to a daytime stream? Can we still do the DLCs, even though that one stream it went wrong? I would consider it. But we got to see how it does as a night stream. If people show up and support it on night streams, maybe I'll bring it back to a daytime slot and then I'll commit to doing the DLCs. But as of now, there's no way I can do that. All right. So I'm not dooming this game to a night stream only, and then we're only going to do, I'm saying it's possible. All right. That's right. Nuez in chat just says the first DLC you played way back in February 2009, then May 23rd, 2013. Yeah, if you're not aware, when I first played the Lost and Damned DLC, I got hit with copyright strikes. That was actually my first experience on YouTube with copyright. I never thought that that was even possible, that someone would strike a channel for playing a game. And to this day, it's not clear if it was Rockstar who hit me with those strikes or if it was actually a troll, because eventually they actually were released from the channel. So who knows? Anyway, so GTA 4 will now be a night stream starting next week. We'll see how it goes. If it does well, it may come back to day streams. If it does well, we may do the DLCs, but for now, it's going to be a night stream game. Okay? All right. Hope that makes sense. Last night with Mario Kart. So what happened with Mario Kart? Let me summarize. Then I'm going to do some shout outs because I have a super chat and a tip and more to shout out here. Okay? And then we will talk about my final review for Mario Kart World, and then we're going to figure out what game's going to replace it, okay? So, Mario Kart World last night was my best Mario Kart World stream ever. I had more top 8 placings, several top 4 placings, and in my final match ever, seriously, I felt this made me feel so good. My final match ever of Mario Kart World, I won. I won Knockout Tour. So that means I won twice. Admittedly, the first time that I won, it was nearly an empty lobby with only like 5 or 6 humans in it and a lot of bots. This time, the lobby was full, and even my detractor troll stream snipers were in there trying to take me down, and they failed, and I still won because I'm actually good at Mario Kart World. That's right. It doesn't matter what any bunch of circle-jerking, mentally deficient idiots on the internet say. I have proven that I'm actually good at the game by showing distinct progress every time I've played it, getting better and better, and finally culminating in me actually winning a match when I had 4 or 5 people specifically gunning for me to take me down. I still won. There's nothing they could do. I proved that I'm good at the game, and they can kiss my hairy fucking ass. The king triumphant as always. You can't stop me no matter how hard you try. So, now that that's that, you might say, well, why am I quitting the game? All right. Here's why I'm quitting the game. All right. It's a pretty obvious reason. There's really 2 ways that a game works as a playthrough on this channel. Way number 1 is if I'm having an incredibly fun time. And to be honest, at first I was having a great time with seeing all the content, but then within 3 hours, we beat everything, including Rainbow Road. Like, wow, we saw everything. Then initially, when I was doing the online play, I also was having a good time with the online play. I would say probably the first stream or 2 that I did online of Knockout Tour I enjoyed. But once I actually got into the meta of the game, seeing that the game is dominated by item use and not really by good driving, I kind of fell out of love with it. Even the overwhelming power of nostalgia couldn't allow me to like the game anymore. Therefore, I stopped liking it. Now, you might say, well, if you stopped liking it after 2-3 streams of the online play, why'd you keep playing it? Because you liked it. You guys were showing up, engaging with the streams, and supporting them in droves. We were hitting the goals. People were contributing to pick my racers and carts. My trolls were coming out and giving me extra views. You know, even be honest, the revenue for the partner program over on Kick was pretty good whenever I played the game. So if all these factors are there, I'll tough through a game that I'm not enjoying if it means putting out entertaining content for you. Okay? But last night is basically where the buck stopped because I'd done everything. I've unlocked all of the carts. I've unlocked most of the racers. There's a few racers I didn't get, but it doesn't really matter because they're all just variations of the same racers with outfits on anyway. It's not like, oh, he didn't unlock 20 unique characters. No, it's just stupid dress up for the characters. It's dumb, okay? There's nothing to do in the open world whatsoever. It's a complete waste of time, and it was a huge bait and switch where Nintendo advertised the open world as something good, and it's just not existing. It's just stupid, okay? And I've done everything in the online play. I've won multiple times. There's no real ranking system. There's nothing to level up or aspire to do. I've done it all. I won against all odds, and I gave a big middle finger to the fucking haters out there, showed them that I'm good, and they have to kiss my balls. So there's nothing left to do in this game. On top of all of that, last night, I didn't hit my support goal, not even close. So if I'm not enjoying the game, if I've done everything in the game there is to accomplish, and if people aren't even enjoying and supporting it anymore, why on earth would I keep playing it? I'd be a fucking idiot. Well, I'm not a fucking idiot, so I'm not going to play it anymore, okay? No, Sean, I don't accept donations, but I do accept crowdfunding contributions and support. Thank you very much. All right, so Mario Kart's out of the rotation. Now, I'm going to give you my review of it in a sec. But before then, allow me to do a couple shout-outs. There's been some support. I want to get that out of the way. I want to talk a little bit about our goals for the week and all of that. And then we're going to get to my final thoughts on Mario Kart World. All right? Okay, let's do some shout-outs. We start today with Nick Story, who did a $20 super chat earlier, but it played his animation on the pre-stream, so let's do it now. Oh, banana. Very nice. Thank you, Nick. Nick says, unfortunately, due to my work schedule, I'm unable to catch the majority of your streams, so happy Wednesday. Indeed, happy Wednesday. I think today will be a good day. I'm excited for today. I hope that you are too, Nick. Thanks for being here today. I appreciate that you can make it today, and thank you for the early support. In addition, Nick actually became a member, and that counts for another $3 of support. So let's get that up on the leaderboard, and let's get Nick up as our first member of the day. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate your YouTube side support there. Okay. Over on, let's see some tips here. Our first tip of the day. Someone tipped $2, says, you said Jasper likes licks. I hope that means that he likes licking you and not the other way around. Oh, no, I just sit around licking my cat all day. I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't remember particularly saying that, but thanks for $2 and thanks for the weirdo message. Okay. Thanks for a $2 tip. This person says, I've been a huge fan since 2010 when you uploaded Street Fighter 4 matches. Well, thank you so very much for the tip. I appreciate that. All right. Yeah, back in the day, man. See, YouTube was so different back then. You couldn't upload longer than 10 minutes. So what I did when I played Street Fighter 4, literally every single set, like match or set, was one video. So when I played Street Fighter 4, let's say I played Street Fighter 4 for 3 hours. Well, in each hour, I'm probably playing, 10 sets, because the game was fast-paced. So no lie, I'd be uploading like 30-plus videos every time I played a fighting game. And, of course, people watched them, but people also complained of the spam. Obviously, today things are way different. You can just do hour-long videos and include sets and things, but it was very different back then, All right, so thank you for the support so far, everyone. To be frank, it would be great to get some kick support today. And what I mean by that is yesterday, there was a distinct lacking of kick support. The people who usually come by and support weren't around. They had actually been around the day before, but yesterday, none of them were around. So what ended up happening was we did get some good support on YouTube and some good tips, but 2 subs all day long on kick. And we didn't hit any of our goals. It takes a variety of support from various different audiences. And some days we do great. Some days we hit the goal and it's no problem at all. And then other days, like yesterday, like, wow, I got 100 people plus watching me over on Kick and no one's supporting. It's kind of weird and suspect. So if you're watching on Kick today and you like the content, please support it. Don't be like Buckwell and his cataracts and pretend like you can't see and say that the game is ugly and then say, oh, I can't donate because I'm blind. Don't do that. Instead, actually support the stream by becoming a sub or maybe gifting some subs over on Kick to see your fellow viewer. All right? That'll be very nice of you. And I'll give you a shout out if you do. Now, today, as I said over the last week since I've been playing Donkey Kong Bonanza, we have special animations. If you do a $20 tip, a $20 super chat on YouTube, or if you gift 4 subs over on Kick, also, the equivalent of that would be 7 gifted memberships on YouTube. So any of those things, if you do them, I will play a special animation for you that has both a cool animation, the dancing banana with my face on it, but also a sound effect. And depending on how you do it, like the super chat has one sound effect, but the other stuff will have a different sound effect. Okay? So thanks in advance to anyone who supports the streams. I appreciate you. All right. In fact, we're getting some support right now. We had British AI Phil playing a saxophone, who actually has done 2 $1 super stickers so far this morning. So thank you for that. And let me add that to the leaderboard. And then Fanny Bandit 609 just did a $1 super chat as well. So thank you for that. So we're up to $30 of support here on the stream. We're a fifth of the way to our goals. Thank you so much for that. I would say at the very least, let's get halfway to the goal by the end of the podcast. That way, it's a lot easier going through Death Stranding 2 to hit that goal. We want to get that momentum back. We actually had insane momentum earlier this week. We hit the 70 goal, and then we had 6 more goals hit within 2 days. That's nuts. Okay, that's absolutely crazy. Then we faltered yesterday. But let's get back on track. For those who don't remember, all right, it is, DSP tries it, a brand new thing. It's called MLB, like Big League Bites or something like that. It is a ghost kitchen service that makes pretzel dog sandwiches, including hot dogs, chicken sandwiches, and cheesesteaks, plus they have a few sides and donut holes. So they only deliver. They don't have an actual physical location you can go dine in. And I've never done a ghost kitchen before, so I'm actually excited to give it a shot and see if it's any good. We will do that as soon as we hit 80 goals hit. So the sooner, the better. We could do it today if we hit 80 goals. We could do it tomorrow if we hit 80 goals. We could do it Friday. Or we could do it Sunday, Monday, whenever we hit 80 goals. All right? So please, let's get some support going and flowing. Let's get that momentum going. Thanks for the early support here. I appreciate you. All right. I received a $5 tip. I'm watching your Death Stranding 1 playthrough. I just want to say thanks for the content from Final Fantasy Tactics Fan on YouTube. Thank you. Thank you, Final Fantasy Tactics Fan. So, Death Stranding 1 was kind of a unique situation, and here's why. Particularly, and I think we all agree here, the gameplay of these games, all right? I did. The gameplay of these games isn't riveting at all. The gameplay loop is pick up a giant delivery, traverse terrain, whether it's on foot, on vehicle, somewhere in between, and deliver the cargo. Now, sometimes you have to rescue someone. Like the last mission that we had done was rescue a hostage, right? And that was interesting. You had to go into a camp, take out a whole bunch of bandits, save the hostage, and get the hell out of there. But for the most part, it's almost always the same. The real variation comes when BTs show up, which are the supernatural creatures from the other side trying to kill you. And if you got to sneak by them or whatever, right? So, yeah, like for example, that's the loop, but it's not the most riveting thing. With Death Stranding 1, it was a unique combination where I liked the plot and the graphics of the game, and I wanted to see where the story was going, but I was bored to tears every time I had to play the game. You know what I'm saying? It was like the cutscenes were great, but everything else I hated. In this case, with Death Stranding 2, I think because we already knew what the game was going to be, we already had the preconceived notion of what the gameplay loop would be and how to do it, it's actually not as much of a slog. Although for some people, they're still saying they're bored. But I think the people who are coming to watch Death Stranding 2 know what to expect. And we're treating it more as an interactive, chill experience because we're hanging out and sharing each other's company and having a good time. It's better than just, oh, I'm trying to play this game and looking for something interesting and there's nothing for 3 hours, right? So it's still good. Like, we're actually having a good time. And I'm happy for that. So thank you to those who are showing up and supporting it. Really, I'm happy because we're about 20 hours into the game right now. And people are saying, you're definitely past like the halfway point, or excuse me, past the third of the game waypoint. You're approaching the halfway point and you'll be there very soon. I'm like, well, that's good. Because obviously I want to beat this game sometime this year. But I like the fact that the plot is getting more interesting. There's more to talk about while we're still doing the kind of sluggish gameplay, right? But the first playthrough was rough. It was. There was entire streams where I was just bored to tears. Okay. Wow, thank you to Mozzie. Mozzie is here this morning gifting some memberships. Mozzie just gifted 2 memberships to the community. They haven't been assigned yet, but I'm sure they will be. Thank you very much, Mozzie. Let's get you up on the leaderboard. YouTube has been taking a while to hand out memberships. I don't know why, because it's not like it used to be where people were gifting a ton of fake memberships or anything. So I don't know what is actually taking so long. Look, it says right here, memberships, and I'm staring at it, and you know, yeah, there's nothing here. I don't know why it wouldn't be handing out those memberships right away. YouTube might be messed up. It very well could be messed up. YouTube could be having issues not handing out memberships right away. Obviously, I hope that the memberships get handed out. Thank you, Mozzie, for gifting them. But for some reason, they did not hand it out yet. See that? It's been 2-3 minutes. They're still not handed out. I hope that they get handed out. I don't know what to do to fix that. That's a YouTube side issue. No, Mozzie does not select who they go to with YouTube. They essentially just get handed out automatically. You can't control it. It's randomized. So it's very odd. Mozzie gives them, they don't go out yet. Hopefully they do go out. All I will say is let's keep an eye on that, because I did notice last night someone gifted a membership and it just sat there, and I don't know if it ever got handed out. So maybe YouTube broke something again. I wouldn't be surprised. Whenever YouTube does something new, they break something. And remember, they just launched the top fans leaderboard. Maybe they broke memberships. It very well could be. Okay? So I don't know. I really don't know. But I guess we'll see. Anyway, hopefully it gets cleared up. And thank you, Mozzie. I'm going to count it anyway. Even though it didn't get divvied out, I'm still going to count it because Mozzie did still support in some way. It just sucks that what happens is if they don't go through, because this has happened before, if they don't go through, the person usually gets refunded. Like they'll get notified that they're getting their money back for the memberships. But I'm not going to hold that against Mozzie if YouTube has a glitch or an error. Okay. As you guys can see, there are tons of people in chat who would like a membership, right? They're just sitting there waiting for it and they're not getting it. So hopefully those get given out, right? It says underneath they got handed out. It does? Where? Oh, one went to Assbag69 and one went to Sean Summers. Oh, so you know what happened? YouTube broke it. I'm 100% correct. YouTube broke it because when I look at my feed, it doesn't show that it went to anyone. I'm clicking on, there's no notification for them anymore. So YouTube broke it. They changed something. So now no notifications will go out for gifted memberships. I can't even play a notification for a gifted membership because YouTube changed it. You see what I mean? YouTube will change stuff and then they don't notify anyone and it breaks the whole system. Well, congrats to you two who got the gifted memberships. Thank you for that, Mozzie. Fanny Bandit actually gifted another dollar super chat as well. Okay, we're good here. We worked it all out. So thanks for the early support. Thanks for the early momentum. Let's please keep that going. Like I said, by the end of the podcast, let's aim to hit halfway to our goal. So let's try to get $75 of support by the end of the podcast. That way we only have to do another 75 while we're playing Death Stranding 2. It'll make it a lot easier. All right? And let's get that momentum going. Let's get back to hitting goals. That way we can do DSP Tries It, the MLB Big League Bites, hopefully by the end of the week. Okay? Cool. All right. So, folks, my coverage of Mario Kart World has ended. Okay? What I would like to do is do a segment of my podcast here where we're going to talk about my thoughts about the game. Now that I'm done with it, I'm not going to play it anymore. Okay? All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've just completed my gameplay coverage of Mario Kart World here on my channel, DSPGaming, after roughly 20 or so hours of gameplay, give or take. It might be a little bit more, it might be a little bit less. I made about 19 videos, and this covered playing the entirety of the single-player content of the game, meaning all of the circuits, unlocking the secret circuits, and even doing Rainbow Road and all of that on the hardest difficulty level. Then going online and playing all the various online modes, including the standard single races, because they don't have online circuits anymore. Then the battle mode, and also a significant, probably 15 hours worth of the knockout tour, which really is the one new feature of this game, adding in all these courses connected together into actual circuits. Also, I did play some of the open world roaming mode. You know, the fact that this game has an open world that you can roam around and you can look for challenges, you can look for hidden question mark blocks or the peach tokens. So I've pretty much done all of the content of the game. I've unlocked every single cart. The only thing I actually didn't do is I didn't complete all the open world challenges, and I didn't unlock every single outfit for every character. And you might say, well, first of all, why didn't you unlock all of the open world challenges? Because they're completely pointless. If you're not aware, Nintendo advertised Mario Kart World as the first Mario Kart game to have an open world to wander, and said, hey, you're going to want this game because it has more content than any Mario Kart before. You're going to have all these challenges and hidden items and all of that. But what they failed to tell you was that it's completely pointless. All of that open world challenge content literally does nothing. Does it unlock any characters? No. Does it unlock any carts? No. Does it unlock any content at all within the game? No. It's actually completely pointless. What you get are these stickers that you can apply to your profile and stuff. They mean nothing. There's no reason to do any of the content. Imagine that, a video game that presents you with all of this challenge, but never gives you any outcome after you do it all. Why do it then? If there's no carrot that you're dangling in front of me to keep me moving, if there's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, then why am I going to grind my way through all of this content? It's as if Nintendo had the idea, but literally never finished it. Said, well, we'll advertise like we finished it, but we actually aren't going to. We're just going to have it there for content's sake. This is classic bloat, and it's what's happened, sadly, in the last decade. As consoles were able to start making games that had more content in them, big open worlds, what these game developers started doing was putting in frivolous, repeating, boring, open world grinding content. Think games like Far Cry, or think games like Assassin's Creed. Huge worlds, but what's the point of killing every enemy, taking over every base, and doing every objective if you don't get anything meaningful for it? Well, this is the classic textbook case of that. Nintendo wanted to say this was the biggest Mario Kart ever, but they didn't put any effort into it. But hey, they charged you $80 for the game. Because you might say, well, why else would Nintendo charge $80 for Mario Kart World? Well, it has the same amount of tracks as previous Mario Kart games. So it's not the amount of tracks. It has a good amount of racers, but most of the racers are just skins of other racers, and they don't have any difference from them. So it doesn't have more characters. It doesn't have more carts than previous Mario Karts. Okay, what does it have? Better graphics. I will give it that. On the Switch 2, this game runs beautifully at 4K resolution. It runs at a smooth 60 frames per second, and it never really dips. So I will say that. It's the best looking Mario Kart ever made. Also, this game is absolutely great at nostalgia bait. And what I mean by that is if you're a previous fan of old school Mario Kart or any of these Nintendo franchises, Donkey Kong, Mario, etc., you're going to love playing through this game once or twice and seeing all the nostalgic throwback tracks or hearing the remixes of old music from the era of SNES or Nintendo 64 or GameCube. It hits you right here, right in the heartstrings. You're like, oh man, this feels like something from my childhood, but it's made for me as an adult. The problem is, nostalgia bait isn't enough to carry an entire game. And when it actually comes down to the gameplay elements of Mario Kart World, it's arguably one of the worst Mario Karts they've ever made. In fact, I would say the only Mario Kart that I've played that I could say is actually worse than this one would actually have been the Mario Kart that was on the Nintendo DS. I can't remember the name of it, but it was the first one that ever had the competitive online play. And the reason that I say that is because that game's entire gameplay loop was snaking. That game, what you needed to do was power slide left, boost, power slide right, boost, power slide left, boost. And if you didn't do that, you literally couldn't win a race. The entire game, you just had to snake. And it was stupid because it was a gimmick that should have just been that, a gimmick, and not dominating the competitive nature of the game. Mario Kart World is so bad when it comes to the competitive play. Actual driving skill is a completely moot point because the game now has 24 racers. At any given moment, someone who's in last place can get the blue shell, the lightning, the bullet bill transformation, the big mushroom transformation, and immediately turbo through everyone right into the top 8. And this happens over and over and over again. Now, admittedly, you do need to have some competence. If you're absolutely garbage at the game, you're not going to win races. But for the most part, playing well is not rewarded, but punished. Because there's 24 racers, if you're out front and you get hit by an item, chances are you're then going to get hit by another one and another one. It's going to become a chain reaction. And there have been several times where I am absolutely dominating a race front of the pack, and I get hit either by a red shell or a blue shell or whatever it is, and then I get comboed, then I'm at the end of the pack. Then when I go to drive again, you're in last place. Oops, you couldn't get to the qualifier spot and you're eliminated. But I was the best player. I was literally sitting in first for like 3-4 minutes. How can you punish me for that? Mario Kart doesn't care. Mario Kart World is not a competitive game. It's a party game made for, people to just mash buttons and get lucky. And in fact, what people have said is the meta of the game has actually become how to stack, stockpile, and use items, not how to drive. So I just want you to think about that for a moment. Nintendo created a driving game where they put so many players into it and so many overpowered items that driving takes a back seat to abusing the items. Wow, that sounds like a good idea, doesn't it? No, it doesn't at all. And the sad fact is, even if you get good at that, if you get good at, I know how to stockpile my items, I know how to predict when someone's going to get a lightning bolt so I don't lose my items, it even doesn't matter. Allow me to explain why. The standard races are horrible. You do one single race and then it cancels out and then it rematches you and you do one single race. There's no 1, 2, 3 placements. No one earns a trophy. The classic Mario Kart feeling has been completely removed from the game, so the actual standard online play is a waste of your time. But what about battle mode? It's awful. It's incredibly boring. What they tried to do is recreate battle mode from the SNES game, but it's so boring when you're just in this tiny arena and you're driving in circles, throwing items at each other. It's just stupid and pointless. The only actual mode that has any legs in this game is called Knockout Tour. So what Knockout Tour is, it's the mode where you have to keep placing in the top few places every time that you hit a checkpoint to continue racing. If you don't get into that top category of places, you get eliminated, and then you're out of the race. It's very exciting, and this is the mode where you get to see all the tracks are connecting to each other in the game, which really is the only one new feature they added to this game. I believe I want to say there's 5 or 6 different circuits that you can race on, and they are randomly selected. You don't get to select them. You just get randomly thrown into them. There's no selection process or anything like that. And so when you play this mode, the higher you place, you earn points. And so you're going to see this points total accumulate. But there's a small problem. The points actually have absolutely no meaning at all. There's no categories, rankings. You don't go from, stone to iron to copper, silver, gold, diamond, plat. Doesn't exist. There's no ranking system at all. You can't see how good you are compared to other players. It's completely pointless. It's just a number that either goes up or down, depending on how well you do. The higher you place, the more points you'll get. If you place horribly, you lose points. But who cares? The game doesn't match you according to your points at all. You'll be in a match, you have 5,000 points, you'll be in a match with people who have 1,000 points and people who have like 10,000 points. The game doesn't care. It just puts you with anyone anyway. So they don't mean anything. They're completely frivolous. Why do they even exist? I don't know. The thing is, if Nintendo was going to charge $80 for this game, you would think they would have put in enough effort to say, hey, we're going to make our game competitive. We're going to have leagues. We're going to have rankings. You're going to want to get to the master level, much like if you're playing a competitive fighting game and you're ranking up, or maybe you're playing Call of Duty and you have incremental unlocks. No, there's nothing. I'm serious. There's absolutely nothing. The only stuff that you can unlock in this game is carts, and you get that just by naturally collecting coins over time, or outfits for characters, which you get by collecting the food bags on the stages. So it doesn't matter if you're good or bad, you're going to unlock everything eventually anyway. So what's the point of online play? What's the point of the ranking system with the points? Nothing. It has no purpose at all. Again, it feels just like the open world, something that Nintendo half developed, didn't finish, and said, oh, well, release it, sell it for $80. The game is full of half-cocked, half-finished ideas and doesn't feel like a complete product at all. An unfinished open world, a complete nonsensical online play system. What the hell happened with this game in development? And if you want to know the honest truth, here's what I actually think has happened. I think that Mario Kart World actually wasn't intended to be the launch title for the Switch 2. And you could call me crazy. I think that this game was supposed to be released later down the line, maybe in the fall, maybe in the winter. But they really wanted to have a first-party game to become the flagship title for the Switch 2. But they also didn't want to put all their eggs in one basket. So what they did is they said, hey, is this game ready to release now? Well, technically it is. It just doesn't have full features. Who cares? It's a launch title, and it's the only first-party launch title. Outside of Mario Kart World, the only other games available for the Switch 2 at launch were ports. Ports of games that you could have already played on another platform. So if it's the only unique experience that you can get, guess what? People are going to buy it regardless of the price. And that's exactly what happened. Mario Kart World was released half-finished for exorbitantly expensive pricing, even though it didn't have the features in it to warrant said pricing. But everyone bought it because we all wanted this original first-party game at the launch of Switch 2. It literally was a ripoff, and Nintendo knew exactly what they were doing, and they don't care. Because here's the truth, everyone. Nintendo doesn't care about you. Did you hear what I just said? Nintendo, the company, does not care about you. It doesn't matter what you think or this fanboy mentality that you may be a part of and this weird cultish-like following that Nintendo has. That, oh, wait, but they always release good games. What about the amiibos? What about the... Nintendo does not care about the common consumer whatsoever. You want to know what Nintendo cares about? Money. Just like any other corporation, all they care about is making profits. They don't care about the quality. They don't care about anything. Seriously, all they want is to make money. So what they've done with the Switch 2 is did artificial scarcity. Oh, you can't get the console at launch. It's hard to get. Yet there were more than enough to sell. They just held back at providing them to the market. Oh, the only game available at launch is Mario Kart World. Oh, by the way, Donkey Kong Bonanza was finished, but they decided to wait a month and a half to sell it to create artificial scarcity. For the console you just dropped $450 for, maybe you wouldn't have bought a multiplayer game. But since it's the only first-party game available, sell it quick, sell it for $80, make everyone pay top dollar for it. You'll forget about it in a month because Donkey Kong's coming out. You see what they did? They actually used a savvy business strategy. The thing is, it's anti-consumer, it's anti-gamer, and it's actually downright immoral. They sold you an $80 game that wasn't finished, that didn't even have as many features as previous Mario Kart games, but they lied to you and said it had more. They said there was an open world, but the open world is meaningless and empty. They said that the online play was different, but actually the online play is unfinished. Do you notice there's no uproar in the gaming community about it, though? Because it's Nintendo. Because Nintendo has this weird fan base of obsessed, cult-like people who, no matter what Nintendo does, they can do no wrong. I don't care that you sold me a half-finished game for more money than every other game, because you're Nintendo and I love you. You can't do anything wrong. Everything's always good with Nintendo, right? No, I'm sorry, but the modern gaming landscape is different. There's a lot of competition out there. PC, PlayStation, Xbox, all of these handheld things now, the ROG Ally and all this. There's a lot of ways you can play games. You don't need to buy the Switch 2 to get a family-friendly experience anymore. You can actually get that on other platforms now. So Nintendo should be forced to justify the purchase of the Switch 2 at $450 and an $80 purchase of this flagship title. They've done nothing to do that, yet people still bought it in droves. Do you see the problem here? If consumerism's attitude doesn't change, if people don't stop spending on things that are inferior or mediocre, there will never be incentive for a company like Nintendo to ever do better for you. Do you think Nintendo would ever release something like Nintendo Game Pass? No! Why on earth would they do that? You're spending $80 for an unfinished Mario Kart. Why would they do a Nintendo Game Pass where they give you new games for a subscription? Are you out of your mind? Of course they're never going to do that. But that's because you reward mediocrity, okay? So Mario Kart World is a great-looking nostalgia bait trap. It performs very well. It has great remixed music. The tracks look great. But once you peel back that shiny exterior, you see a game that's bare bones, a bait-and-switch ad campaign with an open world that's completely frivolous, empty, and worthless, online play that has absolutely no effort put into it. Oh, by the way, there's also one final point that I need to make that no one else has talked about on the internet. You ready for this? Mario Kart World lags when you play it online. And you might say, wait, it does? Why haven't I heard anyone say anything about that? In fact, I've heard the opposite. I've heard people say that it doesn't lag. Do you want to know why? Because once again, Nintendo is dishonest in this game. They actually hide the lag. What do I mean by that? Well, a lot of games with online competitive play, if there's lag, they'll slow down the game in order for the game to be able to play catch up. Mario Kart World doesn't do that. It continues to always play at full speed. But what happens is the game starts to kind of bug out. So for example, you'll see Wario will be right here in front of you. He'll disappear and then he'll reappear way in front of you. What? A red shell will be thrown at you and the detector will go off. You have the speaker. So you press the button to stop the red shell will hit you. Why didn't my speaker go off? I pressed the button. But the game never lags, right? No, the game is lagging, but Nintendo doesn't make the game slow down. It still plays full speed. So it hides the lag. You may not notice it because the game is so chaotic as it is that things are always going crazy. With 24 characters on the screen, it's hard to keep track of what's happening at any given moment. But there's tons of times when you get hit by something that's not there. Or people are teleporting left, right, or all around. If you don't believe me, there is one absolutely irrefutable piece of evidence that proves what I'm saying. When you're playing Knockout Tour mode online and you reach one of the gates to qualify and continue to race, all of a sudden in your corner of your screen, it'll say you're in third place, fourth place. But as you approach the gate, it disappears. Then you drive through the gate. The game takes about half a second to figure it out. And then all of a sudden, the game will tell you whether or not you qualified. And then after another half a second, your ranking will appear again. If the game didn't lag, why would it need to erase your ranking, try to compute where you are, and then tell you later? It would just keep you in that place. But it actually doesn't know because it lags. It actually has to think for a second, and it has to look at all of its calculations to see where you are and figure it out and then tell you later. So for a split second, it actually exposes the fact that it has a lot of lag, but then it goes back to hiding it by having everything go in real time. So this is probably one of the most interesting ways I've ever seen lag hidden, because I've seen multiple games like Street Fighter, Call of Duty. They all do it a little differently these days. But this is actually the most dishonest I've ever seen. To not have the game ever slow down or stutter, but then to have things happen in the game that literally didn't happen on your screen, like a person disappearing and reappearing way in front of you, or an item hitting you that literally doesn't exist in the game on your screen, or not responding when you press your button so your speaker can't stop a shell. It's pretty bad. And there have been times when I'm in like 18th place and I'm at the qualification gate. You must be top 20 to qualify. My ranking disappears. I drive through and it's eliminated. But I was in 18th. Well, actually, I wasn't. But the game hid the lag by saying that I was in 18th, deleting that, and then just saying you're eliminated. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mario Kart World is a great-looking nostalgia bait game that is arguably one of the worst of this game's franchise ever. And that's sad because we waited a decade for a new Mario Kart to come out. Remember, they kept selling and reselling Mario Kart 8. They had DLCs and expansion. When's the next one? Well, here it is. And now it's unfinished. It's broken. It's empty. It's way too expensive. It doesn't have content and it lags. What a joke. But no one's talking about it. Why? Because everyone already moved on to Donkey Kong Bonanza. And that was Nintendo's plan all along. Release this game as the launch title, and then before anyone has a chance to figure out what's going on, move on to the next exclusive so everyone will be done with it and no one will care. It's marketing genius and it's business 101, but gamers are too ignorant to figure this out. Well, I'm not. I played for 20 hours and I can tell you, game's bad. Sorry, it just is. If you love Mario Kart, you'll get some enjoyment out of this game. But as a game that's value for your buck, or a game that even is like refutable, like, oh, this is a game that's good in the rankings of Mario Kart. No, it's not. It's actually one of the worst ones they've ever made. They just won't tell you and no one will talk about it because we're already playing Bonanza and we won't talk about this game again. It already passed. They got away with it. So if you've been waiting, like, is this a system seller? No. You do not need a Switch 2 just to play Mario Kart. You'll be done in 3 to 4 hours and you will be absolutely bored. Okay? So my final thoughts on Mario Kart World. It was a fun romp for 20 hours. I got my money's worth out of it as a content creator, but value for the dollar for the average consumer is not there. $80 is insanely overpriced for what they've put together. Nintendo has successfully pulled the wool over everyone's eyes, making this a launch title that everyone's already forgotten about. The game is an absolute ripoff, and you shouldn't waste $80 on it unless you are the most hardcore, die-hard Mario Kart fan. This is a skip. But here's the worst part all about it, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready for this one? Even though you already paid $80 plus tax to play this game, in a year's time, Nintendo will release DLC. They will release more tracks, more content, more racers, and the like, and they're going to charge you $30 to $40 for it. Even though you already paid more than the game was worth at launch, they are not going to give you free DLC. They're going to nickel and dime you again for more content that should have been present in the launch of the game. I don't know what else to say. It's that simple. Nintendo has lost their way. Nintendo used to be better than this, but this is now their business strategy. What it is that people are so blindly following Nintendo that they just buy everything. So even though you already got ripped off, in a year, it's like Stockholm Syndrome. I'll just buy again. I'll spend more. Why are you spending more? You already got ripped off. Well, I got to spend more anyway. It's Nintendo. Then Nintendo will never change. Nintendo will never improve if you continue to reward their scamming nature and the mediocrity of what they're putting out in the modern day. It didn't used to be like this. Nintendo always used to go the extra mile. They made sure that their first-party titles had tons of content, polish, and attention, and quality. Remember the Nintendo seal of quality? It used to mean something. Now, it's a joke. Even the first-party titles look nice, but outside of that, there's just no substance, and that's sad. In 2025, Nintendo has essentially become a company that coasts. And they used to be the innovators in gaming, they used to be synonymous with greatness. When you didn't used to say, I want to play a video game, you say, I'm going to go play Nintendo. Do you say that today? No, because Nintendo has been the company that coasts on their previous laurels and doesn't put in the effort to earn your dollar, but you keep spending it. Mario Kart World is a ripoff. I don't recommend it unless you're a hardcore fan, but you're probably going to buy it anyway because no one listens. There you go. That's my final thoughts. All right. All righty. Well, folks, now that that's out of the way, let's do some shout outs. And then we're going to try to figure out what we're going to now play since Mario Kart is out of the schedule and GTA is now a night stream. Okay? All right. We have a few shout outs to do. Someone tipped $1.23 and says, so Nintendo is like every other greedy gaming corporation that releases half-finished games on launch day. Thanks for the insightful review. Yes, they are, but the difference here is that no one acknowledges it. Almost everyone acknowledges now that the big game companies like Bethesda, Ubisoft, they all doing this. But no one acknowledges that Nintendo is doing it. Have you heard anyone else say what I just said and actually present evidence like I just did? Everyone just kissed the game's butt and then moves on to the next Nintendo game. I'm the only one you're going to get honesty from because I have no stake in the game. I don't need to kiss Nintendo's butt because I'm not worried they're not going to provide me another content piece of game. You know, I didn't get Mario Kart for free. I'm not getting there. I'm paying for it like you, like a consumer. So I don't care if Nintendo doesn't like me. I have no incentive to lie. But that's why you're never going to get this kind of honesty from anyone else because they're all playing the game, right? They want to be in good graces with all these game devs. So they're always going to kiss butt and they're going to tell it not like it is, but how they want you to hear it so that you're just complacent and you keep spending. Not me. I'll tell you like it is. Let's see here. I received a $2 tip. So, okay, here's another person. I'm going to address this too because I think I should address this. The reason Mario Kart has no points or ranking system, yes, it does. It has points. It has point system. It doesn't have any purpose to it, but it has a point system. Your statement's already wrong. It's because Mario Kart has never been a competitive game. It's a party game to mess around on. That's also wrong. There have been several tournaments and tournament circuits for Mario Kart. Back in the day, remember I just mentioned the Mario Kart and Nintendo DS? There was a whole tournament circuit for it, and it ended at EVO. EVO Fighting Game Championships actually had a Mario Kart tournament at it. You don't know what you're talking about. The focus has never been about driving skill. It's about screwing people over with items. At least that's how it was when I played the other games with my friends. That's why Mario Kart has never had an official tournament or competitive scene. That's incorrect. If people want competitive skill-based driving, they go to Gran Turismo or Forza. That may be true, but what you're saying is wrong, just so you know. And just because, all right, it doesn't have it now doesn't mean it shouldn't have it. If all of your competition has it, if every game with competitive online play, fighting games, shooters, hell, even RTS games, sports games, if they all have tiers and ranking systems and incentive to get good, why not put that into your modern game that you're charging more money than all of your competition? Doesn't it make sense that you should at least have the same features as your competitors if you're charging more? But they don't. They have a point system that literally does nothing. It's completely worthless. I rest my case. Thanks for $2. I received a $3 tip. I got a whole backlog of tips, guys, just so you know. I do. I have a ton. I find the best way to win knockout tours is to stay in the middle. Be far enough that you'll pass, not far enough that you get targeted. If you need to be 12th to pass, be 10 or 11, not second. You also got to remember that everyone else is also being hit with the same amount of items. Like when you get hit by lightning, so did everyone. First place is always absolutely bombarded with items in knockout tour. That's fair enough. I will agree with you there. But does that make sense? Does it make sense that in a game with competitive racing, the goal is not to be the best competitive racer? That would be like, well, in a fighting game, the goal isn't to be the best player and defeat your opponent by reducing their HP. The goal is just to sit on super meter nonstop. Wait, what? It doesn't make sense. It's bad game design. And again, I kind of rest my case here. I do think that the game should be better and that it's not as good as it should be. I got a $1 tip. Did I count that $3? I did, right? Because we were at 45. Okay. Someone through the book says, you claim to not be a sucker, but you nearly bought 2 Switches and have bought every big Nintendo game. Okay. I'm sorry, but I have to respond to you in the most matter-of-fact way that I can. You are an ignorant fool because I am not a standard gamer or consumer. I'm a content creator. You understand? I bought the Switch 2 for $450. I bought Mario Kart for $80. All right. I spent $530 plus tax. I even bought a whole bunch of accessories. But so far, I did a marathon at the launch of Switch 2 that recouped all of that money already. I've done several streams of Mario Kart World over the last month and a half, each of which made me hundreds of dollars. I've made all this content. I will make even more content. Do you not understand the difference between someone who made an investment because they're going to make tons of money on the content versus the average consumer? When I'm reviewing these games, I'm reviewing them for you, not for me. How do you not understand that? Why would you make what you're saying makes no sense at all? It's logically stupid, what you just said. I'm not an average person who I come home from work or school and I didn't pop on my game console to relax. It's actually my job to cover these things, to analyze them in this way so that you know if it makes sense for you to get it. What don't you understand? Why would you even say that unless you're ignorant? Okay. Continuing on. I got $1.07 tip. It's a troll. Thanks for the money, dummy. All right. I received an incredibly generous $110 tip from Jersey Clyde, who says, I just wanted to show you some support, so have a good day, King. $110 tip. So first we're going to do this. All right. Well, let's be honest. I think the animation that everyone actually wants to see for that is this.
I need banana, tasty banana. I need banana, tasty banana. I need banana, tasty banana. I need banana, tasty banana.
And one more time.
I need banana, tasty banana.
Very nice. I did do 5 animations for $100. So thank you to Jersey Clyde for an insanely generous $110 tip. Let's get that up on the leaderboard. We're now at $159 of support on the stream. And that means it is absolutely, positively, 100% official. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, the coffers have been filled. The tithes have been received. You giveth, and I am grateful. The goal has been hit. Come on. Get your hands up. Get your hands up. Throw them up because we hit the goal. Yeah. Thank you so very much, everyone, for your support. That's a great way to bounce back from yesterday. That is for sure. Thank you so very much. We're now at 77 out of 80 goals hit. At 80 goals, it is the next episode of DSP Tries It. Ball or MLB Ballpark Bites or whatever it's called. Should be a good one. Should be a very unique and interesting one. Thank you so much to Jersey Clyde. Insanely generous. Thank you to everyone else because we're at around a third of the way to the goal when we hit that. So now, we are now in prime position to possibly hit not 1, but 2 goals on this stream. And if we do, that means we're in the home stretch to hit 80 goals, and DSP Tries It this week. So thank you, guys. Let's keep it going, and thank you for your support. I just received another tip, by the way, $2. One thing about Nintendo, though, is that they pay their employees well and hire a lot. I cannot argue there. 100%, zillion percent. I will say, even though Nintendo seems to treat the consumer bad, they absolutely do treat their company well and their employees well. And it's sad to say in 2025 that we have to judge the quality of a game company not on the quality of the games they put out, but on how they treat their employees, because in general, these companies are treating their employees so freaking badly, right? Like, sad to think that, but it's true. Most of these companies are laying employees off, closing divisions, slashing the budgets, and screwing everyone over. At least Nintendo is doing right by their employees there. I can't fault them for that. You're right. So let's see. You never hear about stress or crunch or burnout from them. That may be a reason why their prices are so high. Also, I wouldn't say you're the only person who speaks out about Nintendo. There's plenty of non-Nintendo fan streamers, maybe the only person you know. Well, I'm telling you, when you look on social media, all right, when you take a look at these things, I'm serious. Almost no one complains about Nintendo games. There's a few every once in a while. Like, for example, I guess Nintendo had patched Mario Kart World and they changed one thing about the way the online played. Because remember, I said how there's no circuit, instead, it's just single matches. People had found a way to like do something to make the matches work the way they wanted, and Nintendo removed it like a week or two ago. Nintendo just patched it out of the game. So all the players were pissed about that. But for the most part, people just kiss Nintendo's butt nonstop. Like nonstop. There's people literally saying Donkey Kong Bonanza is the best game Nintendo has put out in over a decade. And they're actually saying Mario Kart World is the best Mario Kart game they've ever made. You can't even like look at a factual, objective basis and say those things. You could say you love the games, that's fine. But on an objective basis, you can't even argue those things, but they do. They are this unstoppable fanboy force that everything Nintendo does is always the best and everything else is bad. It's unreal. This other companies do exactly the same things Nintendo do, and everyone destroys them, criticizes them, slams them. But the Nintendo does it. Oh, that's a good thing. I'm glad they did that. I don't get it. Okay? Okay. So, folks, now that we have completed my coverage of Mario Kart World, and now that GTA 4 is now going to be a night stream, we have to figure out what's going to change in the schedule. For now, for the rest of this week, it's going to be Death Stranding 2 today and then CVS 2 at night. Tomorrow, it's going to be Donkey Kong Bonanza and a bonus stream of American Truck Sim. And then Friday, it's going to be more Death Stranding 2 and Friday Night Fight CVS 2. So this week, we're good. But the question is, what new game do we want to start playing next week? And we have many options, okay, to discuss. So let's talk about all of them. Let's lay them all out on the table. Let's see if we can get an initial idea. The truth is we don't have to decide this until Friday because I want to obviously advertise for either Sunday or Monday what new game we're playing, okay? So, what are the options? Option number one would be the other game that I had promised all of you for a summertime playthrough, but we just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. And that game would be Suikoden 2 HD. If you remember, a few months ago, Suikoden's collection came out, and we played through all of Suikoden 1 HD, and it was a really awesome throwback RPG playthrough, right? Remember, people came by and hung out, and it wasn't a huge crowd, but the people that were there were very engaged. We talked, they helped me recruit all the characters of the game to get the best ending. We had a great time with this turn-based RPG and its plot, and it was just overall a great time. It was. The music was outstanding. Everything was great. So it went so well, people actually showed up, and get this, we hit my support goal every single stream of the game. I just want you to think about that. So it actually did better than GTA 4. It did better than Mario Kart World. It did better than Blueprints. It did better than Clair Obscur. It did better than almost all the games because every game seems to have a stream or two where we don't hit the goal. Minecraft, right? The only other game that I could think of that we have hit a support goal every time has been American Truck Simulator. That's it. That's remarkable that a PS1 game from a forgotten era actually did that well on my streams. So because it did, I promised all of you, hey, later on this summer, we'll play the second one, okay? So we do have to start with this game at some point, but the question is when. We could start it next week. That's option number one. Option number two, there is a new RoboCop game that is an expansion to the RoboCop Rogue City game that came out about a year and a half ago, and we played through that game, and we really liked it. So this one is a standalone expansion that apparently has a good amount of content. People are saying who played it, they're absolutely loving it. So, absolutely, the new RoboCop expansion is viable for a playthrough starting next week. In addition to that, there's the Tony Hawk 3 and 4 collection that came out a week or two ago. That collection is apparently got mixed reviews, and I'm not sure why, but it's right in line with what Tony Hawk 1 and 2 was, where There's stages. You go into the stage, you have to get a certain point total with tricks, but then there's hidden objectives. The more hidden objectives and things you do, you earn points, and that unlocks the future stages. And then eventually you unlock the secret stages and all of that. And apparently, from what I'm to understand, because we were all wondering about this, the game does have a streamer mode. What that means is they created a soundtrack just for people to stream the game, so the music doesn't get blocked and claimed, so we don't have to play it in silence. It does have music we can listen to. Okay? So that's a viable option for next week as well. And then last but not least, there is a game that came out that actually I had forgotten about completely. I forgot this game existed, but it came out a day or two ago. And someone mentioned, I said, really? Wait a minute. Let's look into it. And I actually have it right here. And I think what we should do is look at it together because I'm actually very curious about this game. Do you know what game I'm talking about? Well, it's completely different from every game that I just mentioned. It's called Ludo or Luto. I don't know how to pronounce it. It is a horror game. It is a first-person psychological horror game, okay? And apparently, it's getting really good reviews, and people are saying that it's quite good. And I wanted to watch the trailer together because I've never watched this. Ready? Oh, it's muted. Interesting. There's another trailer right here. It's exactly the same. Are they the same trailer? I guess it's the same trailer twice. Oh, okay. So, Ludo is a psychological horror experience where you take on the role of someone unable to leave their home. Every attempt to escape will lead you to deeper into the unknown where nothing is as it seems and everything will test your senses. Looks interesting, and we haven't played a horror game for a while. This could be something different. Also, I don't think it's a long game, so this could be a quick one that we beat in like a week or two, and then we could go to another one. So here's what I want to do. I want to do a poll in the chat. I want you guys to vote. I'm not going to say that this poll is going to definitively decide what we do, but I want to get an initial reaction from you on what we should do. All right? So I'm going to set up a poll both on the Kick side and on the YouTube side. And again, please understand this is not 100% going to determine the game we're doing next week, but I want to get an initial idea. Okay, so I'm back from a brief break. I'd like to take a look at the initial votes here and see how it went. So it looks like, ooh, it was close. So the poll was close. On YouTube, it was 38% for Tony Hawk, but 31% for RoboCop. 15% for Suikoden 2, 16% for Ludo. Okay? Now, I don't know how it went on Kick because I came back and it's gone. I told it to stick around for an extra 5 minutes and the poll deleted. Kick polls kind of suck. They really do. I don't know why they act like that. Like, the YouTube poll will stay as long as you want. The Kick poll just disappears. I'm going to assume that probably Tony Hawk won on Kick as well, but I don't know. Did anyone see it? Or did it glitch? Tony Hawk won. See, here's my concern. All right? I think Tony Hawk is a fine game. It's on Game Pass, too, so it's not like I even have to spend any money to get it. I'm not convinced it's going to work long term. I think it might work for a stream or two, but I think that because it's such a repetitive game that we're going to end up getting bored of it. Like Tony Hawk 1 and 2, I really liked, but by the time that I got like 2/3 into the game, everyone was bored and telling me that it sucks, but I was like, yeah, but I want to finish it now. So I am concerned about Tony Hawk. Oh, did Luto won on Kick? Did it? Did it really? I don't know, because I couldn't see it at all. Delete it. So, Tony Hawk didn't win. It was Ludo. Ludo was the winner over there. Oh, okay. I want to figure out how long Ludo is. Because if it's a shorter game, then maybe that makes sense, and then we could do more than one game. The main story can be completed in roughly 3 hours. If you aim to complete the main story and side quests, it takes about 5.5 hours. Okay. So that would be good for like 2 streams. How much is it, by the way? Oh, it's only $18. It's a really cheap game, too. All right. So how about this? Maybe we do both. right? Maybe we do both. Maybe we should do Ludo and Tony Hawk, and we see what happens. Ludo is only a 6-hour game, then that means we're going to definitely get it done in a couple of streams. It's not a big deal. Tony Hawk, we could start up. We can see how it goes. And if people like it long term, we can keep going. But if it ends up getting boring within a stream or two, then we don't have to keep going, right? There you go. Right now, it seems like nobody really wants Suikoden, right? That was the most least voted. So maybe we save that for like August or early September. Well, it's still summer, but we'll try to get it done in a different time frame. Oh, and there was a tip. My bad. There's a $1 tip here for a while. I didn't shout it out. That's my fault. From Ava Cowboy fan. I want to ask what kind of games you would be interested in replacing Mario World with. Oh, I think this tip must have come in before we did the poll. There you go. Am I interested in trying out any demos or anything? No, I think, like I said, it would be from the 4 games that I just said are the ones that I'm considering. Okay, and Ava Cowboy fan actually just said in chat they would like RoboCop. So, okay. Ludo is around 4 hours long. Yeah, that's what it just said. It said you could beat the story in 3, but if you do all content and go for things, it's like 6. So it could end up being like 2 streams for me, which I'd be okay with. 2 streams for Ludo. It's cheap too. It's $18. It's not a big deal. It's a quick one. All right. So how about that? How about for the next week or two before the games start coming out in August, because in August there are new releases for the record. We have on August 8th, Mafia the Old Country. Everyone's going to want to see that. I'm sure of that. Okay. And then at the end of August, we've got the Gears of War Reloaded and Metal Gear Delta Snake Eater and Lost Soul Aside. Now, I don't know if I'm playing all of those, but basically we'll have time in August to keep going with Death Stranding 2, to keep going and finishing Donkey Kong Bonanza if we don't finish it by then, and to do some other filler stuff. So that would be good. Maybe we're doing Tony Hawk. Maybe we will do RoboCop. Maybe we will do Suikoden. We'll see. Okay. Well, next week we should start. Maybe we'll start with Ludo. Then maybe we do Tony Hawk, right? Like maybe we could like throw them into the schedule and see how they do. This would be for daytime streams, King Furbs. Night streams are going to be a combination of American Truck Sim, Minecraft, CVS 2, and GTA 4. And remember, because GTA 4 is a longer game, it's going to be at least twice a week. I don't know if I'm playing Borderlands 4 or not, Tag, to be honest. Nothing I've seen of that game looks interesting to me at all. It just doesn't look very good. But I could be wrong. The villain says, I do hope you beat Death Stranding 2 by then. The story is interesting with Higgs and tomorrow. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep playing Death Stranding 2. As long as people keep showing up and saying that they like it, I'm down for that. I will get through the more boring gameplay to get to the good story. I didn't know there is a new Battlefield trailer. Apparently, there's going to be a new Battlefield trailer released. Well, there's no podcast tomorrow, Orange Man Good. There's a podcast on Friday, so maybe we could do it then. Okay, maybe we'll do that Friday. Sounds like a plan. All right, so this is excellent. We said goodbye to Mario Kart World, and we've now looked at the options, and it looks like the next games we'll be playing is Luto and the Tony Hawk 3 and 4 collection. We'll probably start both of those next week. But then again, oh, you know what, guys? I just realized something. Next week is a shorter streaming week for me, but the week after is longer. So next week, I can only stream 4 days: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's a short streaming week. I have to have Thursday and Friday off next week, okay? But then the week after that, I'm actually here, I think 7 days. I'm here Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, 7 straight days after that, okay? So, FYI, shorter week next week. So probably what it'll be then, we'll probably do, let's do a new game on Sunday. So maybe we do Luto on Sunday, and then maybe Monday we do but Donkey Kong Bonanza. And then Tuesday we do Tony Hawk, and then Wednesday we do Death Stranding 2. And then the night streams can be like American Truck Sim, Minecraft, GTA 4, CVS 2. Every single stream next week would be a different game. Holy shit. Have I ever done that? Have I ever done a week where literally every single stream I did was a different game? I don't think I have. And I've been doing this for a long time. Huh. Would I ever review boba for DSP Tries It? The only way that I would do an entire drink-oriented DSP Tries It is if it was like comparing multiple things together, because just reviewing one drink, there's just not enough substance there. I've tried it, and even those episodes of DSP Tries It in the past haven't done well. So if I were to do head-to-head, like 4 kinds of boba tea, or here's a boba drink and I compare that with this and I compare that, then maybe. But I would never just do a boba drink by itself. There's just not enough there. You see? Okay. So we figured it out. So that'll be an interesting final week of July. Oh, crap. The one thing we didn't get to talk about today, but we're out of time, we do have to figure out what on earth is the next marathon, because I want to lock that in so that we can actually say, hey, let's start getting hype. Let's set the date for it, right? Let's start planning other things, because usually when I do a marathon, there's multiple things that we do for it, whether it's food or whatever, drinks. I want to get all that going. So we need to start working on that. We do. Why don't we on Friday, we have 2 things. So on Friday, we're going to talk about the marathon coming up to try to figure it out. And on Friday, maybe we'll watch this Battlefield trailer together and do a react and stuff like that. That'll be Friday's podcast, okay? Both King Furbs and Itzy just said the Mega Man marathon. Dude, I'm down for that. I'm down for Mega Man. We played it earlier this year. I had a ton of fun with it, but we only beat 3 games. I'd love to play 4, 5, and 6. And to be truthful, I remember 1, 2, and 3. I don't remember 4, 5, and 6 as well. I owned 4, but I only played 5 and 6 like once. So those are going to feel like original experiences for me, okay? Oh, I'm not taking vacation time. Ridiculous. I wish I was. What it is my wife and I have a whole bunch of appointments and things now that are backed up, like way backed up. So we have to have one day where we can go out and do all that stuff, but then I still need another day to run errands and do things, for example, go grocery shopping. Like I can't even do it all in one day. We have so much we have to do. So it's going to actually be 2 hectic days for us. We're kind of running around and doing a whole bunch of stuff together. So, yes, Ball Slapnificent, I did playthroughs of both Mega Man 9 and 10 back in the day. Yes, I did. When they were new games, I played them. All right, guys, I think we're going to end the show. So remember, first of all, great show today. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for helping me to determine these, the schedule. And thank you for your input. This is great. Now we already know we're going to have 2 new games in the schedule next week. Thanks for giving Mario Kart a nice send-off. Thank you for the early support. We're hitting our goals. Thank you so very much. We're back on track for DSP Tries It. It's all great stuff. There is no podcast tomorrow, okay? Because tomorrow we're going to have a major stream of Donkey Kong Bonanza, where we're going to do almost 4 hours of gameplay. I'm hoping to maybe get through the entire next world in the next session, okay? But I will come back on Friday, and there will be a show where we will talk about the upcoming marathon, try to figure out what it is, and we will maybe watch this Battlefield trailer, see if it's any good. I have hopes for Battlefield. Battlefield used to be really good. Do you remember around the time of Battlefield 4 that it actually was better than Call of Duty that year? That was like the launch of PS4, so it was a long time ago. But dude, Battlefield 4 was straight up amazingly fun. The graphics were great, the destructibility of the environments, the gameplay loop was amazing. I really loved Battlefield 4. And it's a shame because I really feel like, sadly, that's been the last good Battlefield game. I didn't like Battlefield 1. I didn't like that last one. So this next one, I'm hoping Battlefield is good. We really need a competitor for Call of Duty at this point. Because I'm sorry, every time I boot up Call of Duty and it's another stupid cartoon tie-in, here's Roger from American Dad in 7 mech suits. Buy now for $30. The fuck is going on? We need a competitor really right away. So I hope that we can get one, all right? Hopefully this trailer is good. Adam Theory, thank you for a $2 super chat this morning. Like I said, this is actually a good opportunity today because we have the entire gameplay segment ahead of us. Maybe we can hit a double goal today to hope make up for yesterday when we didn't hit any goals, okay? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so very much for a great show today. I hope that you enjoyed. I won't see you tomorrow, but I'll see you Friday for a week-ending podcast of fun. Thank you, guys. See you then, and peace out.